Good morning, good afternoon, and indeed good evening, whatever time you're watching. Welcome back to the channel. If you're a subscriber, I really appreciate it, and I'm going to go on to that in this video. And if you're new to the channel and you want to subscribe after this, that'd be great too. However, today is not all about that. Today is going to be probably the most ironic video that I've ever done, and it is going to be talking about why there are all of a sudden so many car dealers on YouTube. And I appreciate the irony there because I've been on since August last year. So I'm still new to the party. I've only just joined, but I'm enjoying it. And what I wanted to talk about today is, number one, why there's so many of us on here now. Number two, the money that I've been earning from it, because people keep asking, I'm getting subscribers coming in and we're having discussions, and it's great and I'm loving it. But no one's afraid of asking the question, how much are you earning off YouTube? Which is, I guess, a bit of a personal question, but at the same time, it's because you're watching it I'm getting paid. So I think it's only fair that I talk about it. So I'm going to go through that as well. And I'm also going to talk about the little sly digs that you're getting on dealer forums as a car dealer for doing YouTube. And I want to go into that in a bit of detail as well. So there you go. Bit of a different video for you today. I am going to be very open and honest, as usual, and talk about why I'm doing it, why I think other car dealers are doing it, how much I'm earning, what the future looks like, and lots of other things to talk about today. And what will hopefully be a nice short video where I don't waffle too much. Here we go. Right, so let's start off with the fact that there are a lot of car dealers on YouTube now. So for me, there are sort of like predominant figures on YouTube that have been car dealers. So you've got Calvin's Car Diaries, you've got High Peak Autos, who's been doing it for years. He's the first person I ever watched on YouTube. Joe at Shifting Metal, Chops Garage, and then a couple of other ones as well. But you've got some guys that are kind of big following, big numbers on the videos that they're doing. And then you've got this kind of influx of newbies, like myself. And the question really is, why all of a sudden has there been this shift where kind of dealers are coming on? And what I'm going to do is I've written down some points here as to why I think other dealers are doing it. And I've got some points here as to why I'm doing it. And then I'm going to talk about what I think the future looks like. And I'm going to talk about, very openly, how much I've been earning from it and what that looks like and what I think it might look moving forward. So, first of all, why are other car dealers doing it? I think a lot of it is ego. And I don't mean that in a critical way, because I also think part of the reason I'm doing it is ego as well. But I think car dealers as a rule are confident people, salespeople. They normally take pride in what they do in the cars that they sell in the showrooms. And it's all well and good having a customer coming in and showing off to that customer about what you're doing, which is basically what we're trying to do. We're trying to say, look how good we are and look how well we'll take care of you. But doing it online, publicly, to thousands of people is kind of next level bravado, isn't it, really? I quite enjoy that because I'm proud of what I do, and I know a lot of other dealers are proud of what they do as well. So I think a lot of it is ego. Now, I also think that there are mistakes being made by car dealers thinking that this is a platform to sell cars from. I don't think it is. Now, since I've been doing it, which I know it sounds like I'm speaking about, sounds like a Matt bloody Armstrong, doesn't it? Oh, well, in my experience, look, all I can talk about is what I know. And I think since I've been doing it, I think I might have sold one car to a YouTube subscriber. And that isn't why I do it. But I do think that unfortunately there might be other dealers out there that are falling into the trap of thinking I could maybe generate more business by doing YouTube. I don't think that is a great idea and a great philosophy behind it. However, I do think by watching other videos that other guys are doing that there might be a little bit of that. So I'm always really careful. If we've got a car in stock, a couple of people have made comments on videos that I've done in the past saying, oh, that was clearly just an advertisement. No, not at all. I sell cars from my website and I sell cars through, unfortunately, Auto Trade, and I'm going to go on to those guys this week as well because I'm about to downgrade my package and I'm going to film it so you can see just how difficult it is. Anyway, I don't think that it's the right place to sell cars. I don't think I'm able to sell cars on here, and I certainly don't try to sell cars on here, but I do think that other dealers are maybe seeing this as a way out of Auto Trader, and I don't think that it is. I think the other reason that people are diving on as well is to build the brand, and I think that is actually a really good idea. So there are a couple of channels that I've seen that are clearly sort of trying to show how well they do a job, rather than just talking about what's going on in the job, and a byproduct is you've seen how well they're doing or doing the job properly. So I think people are trying to showcase how good they are as a dealership, which I think is a great idea and it's a great platform for it. So I think that's another reason you see more and more of our faces on YouTube. I think the other thing that people are falling into the trap of, and I'm going to talk about my revenue in a second, is they think that this is a way of earning a load of money. Now, I've learned quite quickly in the last sort of 10 months or so, what are we in now? May, June, July, August. Yeah, 10 months, 9 to 10 months, that this is not a profitable venture. However, I have noticed there's distinct trends for how much content you're putting on and how much you're getting paid. But I do think that when you look at some of these big players, so people like, for example, Matt Armstrong, and then there's a couple of Americans and a couple of, people with millions of followers that are doing millions of views per video, they are earning a lot of money. There's no two ways about it. But the distance between me with sort of a few thousand subscribers getting a couple of thousand views on videos, I know it's more than that, but they still it down a bit, to 1 million subscribers and millions of views, massive, massive difference in earnings. Talk about that in a second. So I think some dealers maybe fall into the trap of thinking this is a way of earning money. Truthfully, at the start, I kind of thought that as well. Maybe we could, earn some proper money on here. It'd be great if in the future we build it to a point where we are earning proper money, but I think that'll be a great byproduct of the true reason why I want to do it. So I think that's why other dealers are popping up on YouTube. I hope that it does well for dealers, genuinely, because I think there is enough profit in the car dealership pie for everyone to have a slice out of it. And I don't think it's a case of you getting more people coming on, so therefore it's going to have an adverse effect on your business. But I do think that dealers that aren't on it have got a problem with dealers that are on it. Okay, so I've been getting a little bit of stick, and a few dealers who do this have been getting a little bit of stick in some of the car dealer forums. Now, you won't know about this unless you're a car dealer, but there are groups out there where we all congregate and talk about the problems, and it's great. And I love it, because when I started, I predominantly built my business by looking at forums, looking at the problems that people were having, how can I mitigate that, looking at how people are building the business, what warranty companies they might be using, problems they've had with that, how I can mitigate that. And I've taken loads and loads of great advice from other car dealers, and these forums are an amazing place to be if you're a car dealer or a budding car dealer or whatever, because people are really happy to share the knowledge. And I love that in the motor trade. I love this camaraderie. Now, there does appear to be a little bit of an issue with car dealers that aren't on YouTube and those that are. Most people, I know I've got a lot of dealers that watch my stuff and I really appreciate it, and I get some really good feedback from it, and it's great because I think I do it in a bit of a different way. I just like to be honest and just say it as it is. But then I think there is a worry, and I think it is a fair worry, that the more of us that are popping up on here, the more of a likelihood there's going to be that someone's going to do something stupid or say something stupid or create bad publicity about the trade. Now, what I'm trying to do is show the trade, warts and all, so people can see kind of the problems that you've got, and that a £5 margin across a car isn't a £5 margin across a car. And I think people can see that. I think the more and more people that are coming across onto the platform, the more of a concern that is for dealers that aren't on the platform, that all of a sudden we're showing the entire workings of a car business and leaving ourselves somewhat vulnerable. And that is a genuine concern. However, there have been a few comments on there that have been clearly directed at me and clearly directed at a couple of the other dealers that I know about not being able to do both. You can't run a successful car dealing business and do YouTube. And I agree with that to a point, which is why I've had to think about employing someone else. So laddie's starting soon, and a massive congratulations to him. I'm really looking forward to it. You cannot possibly run a business, which is very much a 7-day-a-week job, and spend all the time on the YouTube analytics and trying to make money and trying to make content and editing it. You can't do both together. It's really, really difficult not to do it to the sort of standard that I personally want to do it. So I do agree with that, but I think that there are other ways of doing it. For example, employing someone if you get to the revenue point that you can employ someone, etc., which is, I'm hoping, where I'm at. Now, the problem that I've got is that you've got some people that appear to be very supportive of you, and then you see some of the comments on the forums and you can see that actually quite clearly they're not supportive of you. And when you call them out on that, they can be quite closed, not open to have a conversation. And I think the problem there is that a lot of people are stuck in the way in lots of different industries. And unfortunately, as the world changes, and let's face it, we're all going down this AI route, aren't we? We're all going down, do you remember when we all started selling cars on the internet all of a sudden? And we were selling cars and doing delivery, and it was like click and collect. Do you remember Kazoo? That went well. The industry's always changing, and I do think that social media is massive and going to be a bigger part of it. So for me, employing someone to do the social media as part of the business, which we need to do, and diving onto the YouTube content as well, is almost a no-brainer. But I have been criticised for it, so we'll see how it goes. But I know a couple of people that do it, and it works, and I'm willing to try new things. The way that I see it is this year, there are going to be big changes here. This business has to do something different for me, because the salary that I've been taking for the last 5 years simply isn't going to be good enough moving forwards. I have got a bigger mortgage. My missus is no longer working, although I'm hoping she can start to help out here a little bit and we can pay her for it. I need more money from this place. I don't need a ridiculous salary, but I need to take a salary that's actually fair. So things have to change. And the only way to do that is to change things, isn't it? And unfortunately, it's going to be a bit of a rocky time, but I don't care. I either change it or I get rid of it, and I'm not ready to get rid of it yet. So why am I doing it? The reason I started doing this is because I was doing a little bit on TikTok and I quite enjoyed it. And the reason that I'm continuing to do it is because genuinely I enjoy it. I like this. People were making comments again on the forum saying, oh, you just want to be the star of the show. Who doesn't? This is my business, this is what I do, I'm very proud of it, but also I love cars and I get the opportunity to be involved in cars on a daily basis. It's kind of a dream job, except for the fact that it's completely awful in many ways. So I'm doing it because I like it. I like being creative. I like editing. So prior to doing the YouTube stuff, I was doing filming of cars anyway, just in my spare time of my own cars. I was doing sort of drone footage, that sort of stuff. I love it. I genuinely enjoy it, but sort of nodding back to the comments that made before, you can't do both together. It's difficult because of time. However, I do it because I enjoy it. It's fun, and I like the creativity. And crucially, because I want to. And that won't change. I'll do what I want. The other thing that I like about it as well, and I found myself watching a couple of videos last night that I filmed a few months ago. So there's one where we did some part exchanges. We had this belting kind of weekend where we sold these 3 really special cars and took 3 really special cars in on Part X. And I did this video about it, and someone put a comment on it and it kind of flashed up as a notification. I thought, oh, that's a cool video. And I watched it back. And there's immediate memories. I was back in the moment. It was really exciting. And I looked at some of the cars that I can't believe I had to sell that. I wish I could have kept it. And you know what it is? There's a bit of legacy here as well. This is the sort of thing that I'd love to sit down and watch in, 5 to 10 years time with my now son and be able to watch it and go, look at what Daddy was doing when you were this big. I just think there's something special about that. And the fact that you guys and girls and toasters can watch it and also enjoy it is amazing. So I think it's an amazing thing. So legacy for me is important as well. Communicating with the public, getting backlash sometimes. I'm trying to think of different ideas in the business. I like to put it on camera because I'm an open book, and if it's a stupid idea, I want to hear it's stupid. If it's a great idea and people want to get behind me, I want to hear it. It gives me confidence. So I think communicating with the public is a great way of doing it on here as well. I've written down some stuff here. Ad revenue is something I'm literally about to come on to in a second, but just it's made me think I've got an idea. There's always stupid ideas. I say stupid ideas. A couple of the other guys are raffling cars at the moment, and I've been looking into this, and I want to know whether or not, I keep getting comments in the comments saying, you should start raffling cars. Is that now flogging a dead horse? Is that done? Is that still a thing? Should I raffle some cars? I've got a really cool TT that's come in, and I am thinking of running a raffle on it. But I genuinely want to get your ideas on that one. I don't want to do it to make loads of money. I want to do it because it's something different. For me. Ad revenue. This doesn't pay a lot of money. However, it pays enough for me to justify doing it, if that makes sense. So this company needs to do £10,000 a month just to stand still. And that's before I take the new salary that I need to be taking. So that is including the general running costs. So you've got paying wages, you've got paying Auto Trader, which in turn is a wage, paying the rent, paying the business rates, paying the electricity, paying the internet, paying the security, paying, you name it, everything. 10 grand a month is what we need. So I'm going to talk you through the revenue that's come through from YouTube, and you'll soon understand that it can't just be from this. So I started it around about June, July time, just trying to get what they call monetized, which is 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours. And it sounds like not a lot, but it's quite a feat. It's quite hard to do. But we managed to get through that in a couple of months, and I got my first payment through from Google AdSense, which is basically who pay you on YouTube because you're getting paid for the advert views. My first payment was £278 for the month. So obviously I bought my first boat. It's now moored somewhere just outside the Mediterranean, and we visit it once a year. So that was the first boat payment. Second boat I bought in September for £411.46. Obviously I'm being a little bit cynical here. It's not big money. However, I could see an obvious trend here, 280 quid to 411. That way, isn't it? October, I'd had a real push, trying to get more content out. And I got paid £1,130 for the month in October. And all of a sudden, this is when I started thinking, hang on a minute, the revenue here could be quite good. Now, unfortunately, in October, I also bought the house. If you subscribe, you'll understand that we've been doing a house project at the same time. And in turn, I had to essentially kind of close the business almost. I sort of had skeleton structure going on here. We're still selling cars, not really buying them, still valeting, not really, anyway. So November, December, January, February were pretty rubbish because I wasn't putting out any content. So October was 1,100 quid, November was 900 quid, December was 550, then January 150, February 180, and then March I started to kind of do the videos again and push up. March was 330, April was 1,570 quid, which is amazing. And then May, so far, we are on around about 500 quid for the month, and we're about halfway through it. So I suspect we'll probably do 1,000 quid in May. But again, I've not been pushing it because I had such a big month in April. So it's really difficult to sort of balance it. So as you can see, that's not really sustainable for a business to just run. However, it's enough for me to justify if I can get a member of staff in to basically do the content for the car business that we need to do anyway and do content for YouTube, it's almost a no-brainer. So it kind of makes sense from that point of view. Now, the other thing that's come from YouTube, which I didn't expect, the byproduct is people are offering me cars. So I've got a great contact, a trader who's been in touch, who buys cars from the public and acts like a broker. We're doing a couple of deals through him. I've been buying cars from subscribers, which you've probably seen in some of the videos as well, which is amazing because the cars tend to be good, because subscribers tend to be petrol heads, which is pretty cool. Oh, good, it's all kicked off. Oh, we've got an inquiry on the F-Type. How exciting! Which I bought from a subscriber. So you can see how it starts to become tangible, and I hope that other dealers can, those that are being critical, can see why I'm trying to do this. I need to get my views up, obviously, and the only way to do that is to provide more content, and the only way to get people to actually watch the content is to provide content that's actually interesting. I don't agree with just firing videos out for the sake of it. I want to have something to actually talk about. So we've actually got some really exciting stuff coming up soon, but you'll see that in the future. Speaking of the future, what's it going to look like? Well, I think car dealerships are all going through changes at the moment anyway. I think a lot needs to change within the industry. I think the Consumer Rights Act is just ridiculous for what we do. Speaking of which, I've got a court hearing coming up. There's a video coming out on that one. And I think that the market is ever changing and we need to adapt to it. And that's why I think that this kind of works for me. What's the business going to look like for me? Well, things are going to change. Obviously, Callum is leaving. We're trying to employ someone to go into Callum's place. It's very difficult because he kind of does a little bit of everything. But I'm looking for a valeter, detailer, slash someone who's actually involved in cars and knows how to take a wheel off and put it back on. So I've got that difficult task at the moment that I'm trying to sort out. And then we're going to probably start looking at raffles, that sort of thing. But also, crucially, I need this business to be different. So I'm going to start upping the value of the cars, which I said I was going to do before anyway. So we sell some fairly heavy stuff here anyway, but I'm going to start just pushing with that. And similar to the content on YouTube, I want it to be, rather than volume, quality. So hopefully we'll start to push the quality of that, and that will engage viewers more. Again, look at the raffles, and then potentially start looking at doing events as well. So we've got the industrial estate that this business is based on is huge, and on a Sunday, I'm the only one here as a rule. Everyone else is shut because they're not completely mental. So I look at it and I kind of think, I bet you can get 100 cars on this industrial estate. And I do think, is there an opportunity to do some sort of an event here? I mean, it's a public road. It isn't at the bottom, it's a private road, but that could be quite cool, couldn't it? So there's ideas kind of running around my head for events, raffles, different content, etc., etc. But I just wanted to sort of address why you see more of us potentially, why I'm really pushing it, and what the future might look. And hopefully that's going to iron out some creases in people's opinions as to why I'm doing it. I'm never going to please everybody, and I appreciate that some car dealers are always going to think I'm a bit of a prat for doing this. I will never tread on someone's toes. I will never say something stupid. I probably will say something stupid at some point, but I'll do my damnedest to make sure that I'm not doing something stupid. And I hope that this is good for the industry and people can see the difficulties that are behind a car dealership. So there you go. Bit of a different one for you. Callum's back. He's got married. I know. Shame. But he's back now and he is back on form, getting some cars through the process. We've just bought a lovely M2, got an XC90 come through. The M4 we're still trying to fix at the moment. I need to speak to BMW on that one. We're off to buy something a little bit different tomorrow. It's a bit wacky, a bit not my cup of tea really. However, the margin is that attractive, I can't turn it down. So you're going to join me on that one. We're going out tomorrow to film it. And there are a lot of things bubbling away in the background that I think you're going to enjoy. So if you're a subscriber, thanks again for watching. I really, really mean it because you make a difference. If you're not a subscriber and you fancy it, go for it. It's a click of a button. It doesn't cost you anything and you get notified of my videos. And if you find it interesting, you can continue to watch. If you don't, unsubscribe. But give it a go. Anyway, until next time, cheers.